Hello, Georgetown. I'm Beverly Enos, and this is Spotlight Georgetown. You can catch us Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., and quite often at other times during the week. So turn on to your cable TV channel and watch the show. If you'd like to be part of this, please let us know. We have all the time to do some interviews or maybe work behind the cameras. We're always looking for people that would like to learn the process. We have the equipment, and we'd be more than happy to teach you how to do it. Now, today we're talking to Sally O'Malley, and Sally is from the Topsfield Fair. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here, Beverly.
Now, I've known Sally for many years. Now, what is your exact title at the fair?
I don't really care for titles, but I do the marketing, the public relations for the fair.
So as the public relations person, you were the one chosen to come in and talk to me.
Yes, that's true.
That's good. It's nice to have two friends doing this together.
I know.
How long have you been at the fair?
This is my 17th year at the fair, so long time.
Is it really? Now, I have been exhibiting, I've been exhibiting in my students, and then of course with the booth, since 1974 was the first year I exhibited. No, I've been around a long time, a really long time. Now, how did you choose the fair as some place to work?
Well, it's interesting, Beverly, because I was a newspaper reporter for 27 years before I went to work at the fair. And Al Craig, I live in Essex, Al Craig and his wife Caroline, who've been active with the fair. Al retired a couple of years ago, but they're very active with the draft horse. I've known them. Living in Essex, you know everyone. I'm sure it's the same in Georgetown.
Yes.
And Al approached me because the gal that was doing my job, this job, was retiring and she was moving to Florida. So he said, you know, would you be interested? And I said, well, I don't know. I'm still with the newspaper. So I did both. I did the newspaper and the fair for 2 years.
Which must have been crazy.
Yes. But I had a history of my husband and I thoroughly enjoy fairs, and we went to fairs. So I had some knowledge, but I had no idea what it takes to put on a fair.
It's an all-year thing.
It's an all-year. People do not realize that once we close one fair, we open a new book. Start right in.
For many years, I was actually on one of the committees at the fair, and we would be making notes during one fair and actually implementing things for the following year.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, that happens in every single building, in every department.
It's true. I mean, you have to, because what works might not work another time.
Right. And, you know, the weather is always a factor. You never know. That's the one thing we can't control.
Is a major factor.
Yeah.
If we have good weather, we have a fabulous fair. But I like to tell people that even if it rains, come dressed for the weather and come to the fair. The crowds are down. We do not have muddy walkways. We have hot top. The buildings are all dry, and it's a perfect time to go to the fair.
It is, and you can actually see more if you go when the weather is not quite as great. Because it's not crowded. You get to get up closer to the exhibits or closer to the animals or the flowers or whatever it is.
And it's just a perfect time. And I always tell the girls that are answering the phone, you know, tell people we're fully open, and it's a great time.
I remember one fair that we had. I was at the beginning of the fair. I was wearing winter clothes. We had snow. And the last weekend of the fair, because the fair always closes on Columbus Day weekend.
Always.
The last weekend, we had 90-degree weather in the same 10-day period.
I think I heard about that fair.
Oh, it was nuts.
Last year, it was actually quite warm during the fair. And it was almost too warm during the days. So the crowds were bigger at night because it had cooled off.
Right. My son-in-law loves to go to fairs. But he only likes to go to the fall fairs. He doesn't like it when it's hot and sticky and it's dirtier and, you know, all that kind of stuff. He likes it when it's nice and crisp and cool and you can put on a vest and
well, I don't blame him.
really
I
feel
think
like the fall.
When people hear fairs, they think of fall.
Yeah. Now, the fair always ends on Columbus Day holiday.
Always ends on Columbus Day. And
So
it's a perfect gauge for when the fair runs every year.
So it always starts 10 days before that.
10 and a half days now.
Okay, because there's something new a few years have been added.
Yes, we have opening night now on Friday night, and the fair is open 4 to 10. Full fair open that night, but we open on Friday night now and then run right through the following 10 days, 10 to 10 every day.
Yeah, so that's it's a nice long fair. There's plenty of time to get in to see it. Now, after the opening night, first thing on Saturday,
is our parade.
Is the parade.
And you know, so a lot of people I find do not know about the parade, and we have a fabulous parade. A fabulous parade. Starts in the center of Topsfield at 9 o'clock, and it just wends its way all the way up to the fairgrounds and around the fairgrounds. And there are bands and floats and everything.
And it's a long
Kids-
parade. It actually
long
takes
parade.
more than 45 minutes to get to the front gate.
It does.
And it's only, what, a quarter mile?
We try to keep it to an hour because
Mm-hmm.
we like to have the opening ceremony at 10, but it never, ever ends by 10.
And there's lots of kids in it and lots of adults and floats and
All the departments put in floats, and it's fun. It's really fun. We give out ribbons, we give out awards, and a lot of the departments, you know, really vie for those ribbons.
yeah. I've been in the parade a few times.
Yes.
And they line the entire parade with people. They've got their chairs out and their coffee and their, you know, the neighborhoods are together, and it's a nice thing. You don't see a lot of parades like that anymore with floats.
No, that's very true. You don't.
It's not
You
just
don't.
fire trucks and bands.
No. We try to get the school bands involved, and it's great for Masco and for Danvers High School. They both put their bands in. And we try to get the locals, you know, smaller schools. If they have school bands, we'll take them in the parade.
Okay. So it's
Scouts.
always, yeah. Oh, it's a
It's
it's a
just
great
a
parade. It really is.
Hometown type parade.
It's what people, when they think of New England, what they think of, which quite
It's
often
true.
isn't in
No,
actuality.
It's true.
Except at
very,
Topsfield.
very true.
Yeah. Now, 2008 is the 190th anniversary of the Topsfield Fair.
Yes, 190 years. So now they're
Continuous.
going into another whole section. We are the oldest continuously operating county fair in America. The only time we did not have a fair was during World War I and World War II, and that was by mandate of the government.
Right. But other
So-
than that,
We've been open every year.
and I know some years, if there was a crisis in the country, the fair actually moved from where the fairgrounds normally were held into a downtown area.
Well,
that
you know,
happened a couple of times.
The fair has been in Topsfield continuously since 1911. It started out as a cattle show, and it moved all over Essex County.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It was even in Gloucester a few times. It was a lot of it was in Danvers, but they settled in Topsfield because it was the most central location.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, most of them were coming by horse and buggy, and so that's where we are. And it's located on the old Treadwell farm, so we still have one of their barns.
Okay. Which is the old Route 1.
Yes,
for people
it's
that
where the
don't know how to get
museum
there.
is.
Mhm.
It's where the museum is now.
Now, every year the fair has something new. I remember a few years ago they brought in the Mounties, and that was the newest edition. And
And the Mounties, when they were new, became regulars now. We have them there every other year, the musical ride of the Mounties. One of the newest things that has happened is a Cajun cooking show. And you'll appreciate this because it's in, quote, your building.
yes,
It's in Coolidge Hall on the stage.
Mm.
And he is a comedy cooking show out of Louisiana. And he'll be cooking there. His name is Chef Landry, and he's been popular, and we hope he'll continue to be popular.
with samples, I hope.
With samples.
That's twice as much fun. Now, through the years, the entertainment has changed. I remember when I was first involved with the fair, we had some big names came in, and then we kind of went and did a lot of country. And then we've gone back and forth with 50s, and it seems now every year to be a combination.
It's a variety now. It really is. We've had for several years now, we've had the Colgate Country Showdown on the opening Saturday, which is real country. And it's like the American Idol competition of country. And that has continued every week, every weekend. And we've had Jody Messina,
Mhm.
Lone Star, Village People, Pete Best, he was the original drummer for the Beatles. A lot of good things, and America is always a popular group
Yeah.
when they come. But it changes. We've started having a ticketed show on the second Saturday of the fair, and that's going very well. But Jeff Corwin of Animal Planet was the most recent,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
that's different for the fair.
Yeah. And I don't think people always realize that the grandstand show, as it's called, and those are the headliners that come in, that's free.
Free with your price of admission.
Other than that one show, everything there is free.
It's free. You know that we're a bargain. people don't realize that the fair is a bargain. They can buy discounted, deeply, deeply discounted advance sale tickets to get into the fair every year. They can buy discounted ride tickets every year. And if people would realize that, they could save a lot of money. And now we have many, many venues on the North Shore that are selling our tickets for us in advance,
Oh, really?
discounted.
Okay.
And it's wonderful.
And they can also go online.
And they can go online or they can come right to the fair.
And the online, the address
It's
is
topsfieldfair.org
topsfieldfair.org.
for everything.
Yeah.
All our fair information is right there.
So everything's there. Now, this year the handbooks came out a little bit later. Some years they
Yes,
come out
they
early,
did.
some years they come out late. And I was in classes with my students, and I said, the fair, we need to get the entries in. Because a lot of people don't realize that, let's say in Coolidge Hall, the photography and the artwork has to go in 3 weeks before the
That's
fair.
right.
Because it needs to be judged and then displayed. And all the arts and crafts go in 2 weeks before the fair. Now, in some of the other buildings, the pumpkins and the vegetables go in the day before,
That's
and the
right.
flowers go in the day before. But all of these require paperwork. And
Massive paperwork.
I
but
found it online.
This is it. And you know, now computers are doing a wonderful thing for the
Yeah.
fair because everything is computerized now.
I sent in 37 pieces of students' pieces. I just faxed them in right on the form.
Makes a big
And
difference.
it's just so easy to
It
enter.
makes a big, big
so
difference.
easy.
It really and truly does.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, I don't think probably a lot of people realize that it's free to enter.
Mhm.
And we do have the exhibitors handbooks, and that's online too.
Right, that's how I
and
got
it
it.
tells everything they can enter, when the deadlines are, what the guidelines are. And we just encourage people to come, whether it's backyard vegetables or flowers or chickens,
Or
whatever.
bake a pie.
Our cooking contests, I mean, we have major companies now, Pillsbury, Ghirardelli, King Arthur,
Crisco.
offer
Mhm.
offer cooking contests with all of them, and people are just free to enter and bring their goods, and they'll be judged and get a ribbon, and most of them are cash prizes.
Right,
So
right.
it's whether they're kids, we have junior competitions for cooking, so it's terrific.
When I first started at the fair, they had premiums, and premiums were the cash prizes. And they
Yes.
were like $2 or $6 or something like that. And there was always a question, why do they do this? And then it was explained to me that when the fair first started, or even in the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, that $6 or $8 could buy enough yarn to knit another sweater to enter it the next year in the fair.
That's true.
So a lot of the premiums, they're not as much as they used to be, and they don't mean as much. But there is a history behind.
Sure.
There's a
And
history
there-
behind everything at the fair. Everything.
Well, the fair in its history, it's got such a history, and some things never change, like the premiums.
Right.
Because some of those premiums are still $1 or $2 for a flower.
Right.
But then it's a big thing for people. And, you know, you might grow a dahlia in your backyard and win $5, but you've got a ribbon from the Topsfield Fair.
That's right. That's right. Now, some things they can enter very late,
That's true.
up to a week or two before the fair.
True.
And what types of things would those be?
Flowers, vegetables, they must get their entry form in about a week before, but they don't bring the actual entry until the day before the fair.
So even at the last minute, people
Right.
can still look into entering.
Poultry, isn't it? That really closes early because they can only take so many chickens and ducks and all, and there are regulations for the entries. That's one that closes very early, but art closes early
Yes.
because it has to be hung and judged, and that's a reasonable thing. But even the giant pumpkins, they can bring them in late because a lot of those pumpkins don't last too long, so people don't enter them
Right.
that early.
Then it never hurts to go onto the website
No.
and look at the deadlines or to make a phone call.
That's true.
Now let's see if we can take a tour.
All
A
right.
little walking tour.
Sure.
So that when you walk in the front gate, the main gate, and we're going to head to the left, and we're going to, we have to remember that the Topsfield Fair is an agricultural educational fair.
Exactly.
It's not what a lot of people perceive it to be. So let's go through the agricultural and
do
educational
that.
parts, because that's
Because
that's the best part of the
It
fair.
is the best part.
Now the first building that we hit is Flowers.
It's actually Sportsman's.
Oh, Sportsman's, that's
Yes.
right. That's
a
right.
lot of people forget the Sportsman Fair, and seeing as Coolidge is way down back, you probably weren't that. The Sportsman's Building is an educational building. They do a lot with the erosion, let's say, at Plum Island. They do a lot of bird carving in there, and it's people sometimes stay away from it, and they don't realize what they're missing because there might be a display on native animals. It's a great little building. It's not a huge building,
No,
but
it's
it's a
small.
great little building to visit. Fishing, a lot about local
A lot of fishing.
fishing.
I was in there last year, and somebody had a snake.
Yes.
A very large
yes,
snake,
yes.
and people could go in, and the snake was out, and they could touch the snake,
Mhm.
and the kids were playing with the snake, and
Were you there the day the skunk was there?
no, I missed that one. Thank you very much. I'm there most days, but I must have missed that one. So the next building after that is Flowers.
Flowers, flowers. It's probably one of the most popular buildings for visitors. It's magnificent. I like to say that we're the largest flower show outside of Boston.
Yeah, we are.
We really are. We're
Yeah.
a premier flower show. From the landscapers that set
Noonan's
up,
from
they're
Georgetown is always there.
always there, and usually one of the top award winners.
Yes, usually they
Um,
are.
They come in, the landscapers and the garden centers come in 2 weeks before. They're getting ready to set up
Yeah,
now,
they're
and
digging.
they put in waterfalls, and it's just walls. It's beautiful. And
Now,
then-
one of the things that people don't realize, a lot of people, is the second side of that, when you get away from the
Yes.
landscaping, there are flowers that individuals put in.
That's right.
I've entered some of my plants before.
Sure.
And you just bring them to the fair, fill out the paperwork,
right.
bring them to the fair.
Bring them there, and they have children's entries. They have all really stages of plants,
Right.
from your green plants, your hanging plants, to a single rose.
Right. Now, beyond that is my favorite part.
Mm-hmm.
They have little windows, and each window, there's always a theme.
Right.
And then different people from different garden
Garden clubs.
from all over the area put entries in. And there's
They do.
plates and flowers and tablecloths and different things. That changes three
That's right.
times. So
They're designers. I mean, it's the designer entries are there, and it does. I mean, it changes 3 times during the fair. So the entries are judged, and they just do top-notch work.
so if you go in on the first Saturday, you want to go back on
You do.
Thursday, and you want to
You
go back
do.
on the next Saturday.
Because you
Because
know,
it's Saturday, Wednesday,
it's
Saturday.
easily to miss it.
It is.
And it's wonderful.
Lisa Green from Georgetown, from Noonan's, has
Sure.
won a couple of
Sure.
prizes there. I always say her name, and it's nice. It's nice to see
Nice
the
to
locals.
see a name you know.
It is. It is. Next building is poultry.
Poultry.
The biggest draw,
The biggest draw is, of course, the egg hatching.
the little chickies.
Yes. We bought a new incubator 2 years ago, and that goes continuously. And everybody, not just children, but they want to see those eggs hatching. We don't realize, Beverly, that people don't get out and see this.
Yeah.
You know, children just stand there with their mouths wide open. And we have really tried to improve our education program. We have an education director now, and the poultry people do programs with these children to explain to them, you know, how long it takes to hatch an egg, and shows them the difference between the chicks and baby ducks or whatever they have. I would say it's probably the most popular
My
place.
2-year-old granddaughter, when I had her there last year, she had to go back 3 times just to see the chickies hatch. And a fun story, back when I was Mrs. Essex County, Channel 4 was coming in to do a do a broadcast. And the opening screen, what I did was we took the baby chickies and took them to the vegetable building and put them in with the pumpkins and the squashes, and you hear all this noise and you see them jumping around, and because they're just adorable.
They are, and I don't care how many times you see it.
Yeah.
You can still stand there and watch those chicks hatch.
And then, of course, they have all the other poultry that goes
Oh,
with it.
yes. A beautiful display with fancy pheasants.
Yeah.
And of course, out of that building comes the cock crowing contest that takes place on the second Saturday.
And I have seen the roosters, let's say, fly over to the pizza parlor.
Oh, yes. There's always one that flies away.
Somebody always gets away. It's always a fun thing. Next building is vegetables.
Vegetables.
A couple of things in there that are always popular.
Well, the minute you walk in the door, it's nice to have a glass of cider
Yes.
before you start walking through to see the veggie creatures. The veggie creatures and the decorated pumpkins have become so popular with groups of kids, be they Girls Club, Boys Club, Scouts.
Georgetown Scouts always have 2 or 3,
You
either
know,
Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts.
and now they can
Cub
only
Scouts.
take so many because
Yeah.
they have only so much space. But those are the entries that come in right away, early, so the kids can get their pumpkins in.
And it's always fun to see that.
And of course, the centerpiece in there is the giant pumpkin.
Ta-da!
Always.
Hundreds and hundreds of pounds.
That's true. 1,689 was the largest ever weighed there, and that was a world record.
1,689 pounds. When you think of how much a person weighs,
I know.
how big that pumpkin has to be, how dense.
Literally looked like a Volkswagen without wheels. I mean, it was the biggest pumpkin. It was, everyone was just amazed at it. Went into the Guinness Book of Records.
Yeah, it's always a fun thing. And when they grow these, of course, the farmers that do it, they share the seeds and they cross match them, and it starts out as a little pumpkin, and they put it on a tuna can to keep it off the ground, and they turn it,
and they have special covers for them, and special feed and secrets.
and they bring them in on these huge tarps, and it takes 6 or 8 guys to get it off the truck. It's just an amazing thing to watch.
It's incredible to see on opening day when you see 100 of these big pumpkins in the arena.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's a real place.
And a lot of people don't realize, again, that these are always edible. Sometimes they're usually squumpkins. It's a cross between a squash and a pumpkin. But one year they asked the Coolidge Building if we would do something with one of these squumpkins. And I had a Sawzall. Here I am with this little chainsaw thing. We cut it up, we cooked it down, and we cooked food that we served to the entire fairgrounds one day.
They have to be very careful along that line. Last year's pumpkin, giant pumpkin, went to Grand Central Station and was carved.
Oh, really?
But they have to be very, very careful because to make sure that chemicals are not used in the ground.
Right.
But otherwise, they're real pumpkins.
They're real pumpkins. Next building as we go around is Coolidge Hall.
Coolidge Hall.
Which is where I've been known to hang around since
Yes,
1974.
yes. Coolidge Hall is just a magnificent place to be, and I think that there's so much to see with from the quilts hanging, the beautiful quilts, to all the needlework. It's dolls, and then one whole half, of course, is art show now, and it's a magnificent. Plus, we have the kitchen there. That's where the cooking contests take place.
Right. Now, how many different cooking contests? Well,
the fair itself does the apple pie and cookies and all, and then Ghirardelli, Pillsbury. I don't want to miss any of them.
Some years it's been...
It's King Arthur.
King Arthur has been there for years
King
and
Arthur,
years and years.
Fleischmann Gist, Eagle Brand. And that's...
The deal is you have to use their product.
You have to do their product, Libby's pumpkin.
And
you have to use their product and show that you used their product.
Right.
And I think, though, that one of the most popular cooking contests is the fair's own apple pie contest.
I used to score for that a lot. And the judges used to love that contest.
Oh, they do.
Such a wonderful contest to be able to judge.
It's great. We've had a lot of people that want to judge that contest, but sometimes after they taste 35 pies, Beverly, they don't want to taste.
Yeah, I've seen that part too. That's why I've never judged the contest. And one of the other things that comes out of that building is the Mrs. Essex County pageant.
Of course. On the second Sunday, Mrs. Essex is crowned, and she, as you know, reigns for a full year. So this year, once she's named, she will be the official hostess for a full year.
I ran into this year's at the International Festival in Peabody last Sunday. She was serving down there.
Yes.
And the Mrs. Essex County, it's not a beauty pageant.
No, it's not a beauty pageant.
It's community involvement.
You're all around women of today.
Right.
Community
a wife,
involvement.
a mom.
And they must be able to cook because that's part of the judging is they have to enter a food.
But then they actually become a representative of the Topsfield Fair for the whole year.
They're the official hostess for the fair.
They do dinners.
And they do many, many things. Parades, openings, they're available for what people need them for. And I think that once they've been in a parade or been representing the fair, people realize that this is open to all women, all married women on the North Shore.
Right, right. And it's been going on. I was Mrs. Essex in 1980, and we still have one lady, two ladies that are still involved before I was.
Sure.
So it's a fun thing to do.
It is a fun thing to do. It is.
And those entries are open almost right until the fair.
Oh, yes, they are.
Until the fair opens. So the next building is the Industrial Building.
The Trade Center.
And that's where all those gidgy-gadgies.
Oh, yes, you can buy anything from silver earrings to screwdrivers in there.
Right. They have the best potato peelers I've ever seen.
Uh-huh.
And I've been buying those for years. But just about anything that you
Oh,
want
you
to sell
can.
is in there.
You can. Furniture,
Yep.
ladders,
Mops,
you know,
brooms.
something for everybody in there.
Right.
Vacuum cleaners.
So for those that absolutely have to go shopping, that's the building.
We've tried to encourage this year too a lot of people putting in not crafts as much as, well, I guess it would be homemade sweaters and things like that.
Right.
We have a lot of demand for that.
Right. And there are some nonprofits in there as well.
There are a lot of nonprofits.
Right. So it's something to take a look at.
Our general manager, Jim O'Brien, who became general manager in 2007,
Right.
is a great proponent for nonprofits, from scouts to animal shelters, really.
Yeah.
And he encourages folks to really come to us, and we keep a list, and the nonprofits can have a table. Or it's important. I mean, it's part of the whole family-oriented
It is a fair
Topsfield
family.
Fair.
It is.
Mhm.
Next building, we leave that one quickly, is Rabbits.
But let's not forget our souvenir booth right out front.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The fair again does have
The
souvenirs.
fair sells fair
Sweatshirts,
stuff.
mugs.
You know, hat caps and mugs and calendars, and it's a popular place, and it's a great place, and it's a good place to go if it's cold and you can go get a sweatshirt.
Yeah, it's either
And
one or the other.
They have a few different things every year, and on the other side of it, we have an education center now, where people are invited to drop in and pick up information, agricultural maps from Massachusetts, all types of
Oh, nice.
information like that.
Yeah. All right, then we go to the bunnies.
Then we go to the bunnies. That is really a good place to go.
And people can actually go to the fair and buy bunnies.
They can buy bunnies, or they can go to the bunny nursery and see the baby bunnies. And I see so many people walking out the door with a box, and you know they've got a bunny in there.
Yeah. And the kids get to pet the bunny.
Mhm,
Sometimes
they do.
there's a lady there with the spinning wheel,
Sure,
and they're
she's-
actually taking the
they're
angora off the
plucking
bunnies
the angora and
putting
showing
it
how
into,
to spin.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's something in
There
just
is,
about every
yeah.
place. Now we're going to keep circling around. We're going to
The pig
not
building.
talk about the rides.
The
We're
pig
not
building.
going there. The
The
pig, building.
would be next.
Yep, the pig building would be
Yeah.
next.
The swine hall.
Swine hall.
Which is one of our newer buildings, actually. It's only about 7 years old. But
And there's always a
there's
mom
always
pig with baby piggies.
a litter in there.
Mhm.
Usually 2. And it's you can't get through there. You cannot get through there. Everybody just loves to see the baby pigs. Mhm.
Right. Then we go and head towards the arena.
But let's not forget the cattle building before we go to the arena.
Oh, I was going to do
That's in
cattle with sheep.
between.
Okay, I always go down by the arena and come
See,
back
a lot
by
of
the cattle and
people
the
go
sheep.
into cattle and then go down. The cattle building has been expanded to become more of an educational center. And the funniest thing was, in 2007, Al Craig, our former manager, sort of took over that building. He found that there are so many children that have no idea where their milk comes from. They don't know what a cow is. And he was just letting the kids in, giving them a brush, and letting them go in and just brush the baby calves. And it was amazing. And he's turned it around so that when you walk in there now, there's a center ring, and they can actually see the cows, pat the cows. And
Oh, nice.
Yes. And of course, it's always exciting if we have a calf bond during the fair.
Yeah, that's always a fun thing. When I had my granddaughter at a different fair this year, they had a pretend cow outside and set up so that the
Oh,
the
sure.
kids could actually
Mhm,
milk the
yeah,
cow.
yeah.
And she just thought that was the best thing
Sure.
since sliced bread. She's 3, and it's just, she can't wait to come to Topsfield to see the cows.
And of course, in that barn, we have the milking demonstrations
Mhm.
too, which is a great draw for the school kids.
Right. So then, arena?
Arena.
Okay. Everything goes on in the arena.
Everything goes on in the arena. When the Mounties are there, they're in the arena, which you can't get a seat when the Mounties are there.
Right.
They're so
You
popular.
have to get there 45 minutes
Mhm.
early.
Hallamore, that has those magnificent, magnificent Clydesdales.
I rode on that once.
Yeah.
That's so much fun.
They're all stabled in there. They welcome people to come in and see them.
Yeah.
And there are horse shows and
Tractor pulls.
tractor pulls. Now we have a pet show always on opening night where anybody can enter their pets. We just ask that they bring them in a little cage or on a
Okay.
leash. Whether it's cats or chickens or whatever, we have a pet show in there.
Oh, that's fun.
With judges and prizes. And we have the kids have the horse show, 4-H horse show in there
Right.
early on Sunday morning. but they're between the pulls and the,
Carriage shows are gorgeous.
yes, the draft horse shows the second weekend.
And
And
that's
we
always
have
packed.
what's called the Supreme Six on that second Sunday in the arena. And there are usually, one year there were 13 entries of the carriages drawn by 6 horses. I mean, they're 6 horses.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing to see.
And this is something that kids that have never been around anything other than, even if it's a small town, it's
Right.
not farm area.
That's right.
They have no idea that.
They have no
that
idea.
what
They have
these
no
animals
idea.
do other than you see pictures of them standing in a pasture.
Hmm.
Okay, sheep.
The sheep and goat show gets more and more popular every year. We have so many sheep entered and so many goats entered. But kids can even go in and milk a goat or brush a sheep. But they have spinning demonstrations in that building too.
And they're close enough that you
which
can touch
You
them.
can touch them.
Yeah.
And you can walk around the pens and pat them.
Yeah, kids always like that.
Oh, they do.
Having a grandchild now and taking her to the fair, you see totally different things than when I used to go to the fair for myself.
Through different eyes.
You don't spend 2 hours in Coolidge Hall looking at every piece of embroidery, but
No.
you might spend 45 minutes playing with the sheep.
That's right. That's so true.
It's so different. Now, as we come out of that building is always the sand
The sand
carving,
sculpture.
right?
Mhm.
And every year it's amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing. It's just, it grows and it grows in popularity. And it's a perfect place for me too because it's a place that I can showcase my sponsors. They always get their logos carved into it,
Okay.
which is
So that works
and
well.
it's wonderful.
And then we have beekeeping.
Beekeeping. Largest beekeeping and honey exhibit in North America in that building.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, I didn't know
Yes, we have people come from all over the country to visit that building, which amazed me. There's a gentleman that makes candles in the Midwest, and he came on to see our beekeeping because he had heard so much about it.
that. Kids can go in and make candles.
Kids can go in and make candles. The education person does programs on the importance of the honeybee. They even have a special garden, honeybee garden that's been grown because I don't think even adults realize the importance of this whole scare of the honeybee being down
we
in
need
numbers.
bees.
Mm-hmm. We need the
bees.
bees.
They're
We
very
really do.
necessary to
Mhm.
our lifestyle
We do.
and our living. That originally, when I first started with the fair, that was the Home Arts Building. So it's
I
been
understood
wonderful to
that,
see the
yes.
beekeeping come in and grow to
It's
such
grown.
large
It's grown.
proportions.
And there
next to
again,
the-
they have entries. You can enter,
Yes.
Cooked foods using honey.
And then we go to 4-H.
4-H is 4-H is such a fun building because the kids are in there.
Right.
And plus, we have entertainment in there all the time,
Yeah.
kids' entertainment. But the young people in 4-H do such a wonderful job with their exhibits. And I always have a hard time because I'm always asked to judge in
I
there.
had to judge a few
And
times. Yeah.
it's so hard because we present the Topsfield Fair Trophy.
Photography, sewing,
Flower
crocheting,
arranging,
flowers,
plants.
everything.
They do it all.
Mhm.
And it's a wonderful, wonderful building. It's
Last year I
just
saw a
happy
little
building.
marionette show in there that was great.
Oh, yes.
And they also have a little snack bar
They do.
with homemade
The
food,
Clover
which is really
Cafe.
good. Yes.
And you can get a pie or a lunch
They
or
have
whatever.
good chowder.
They do.
Yes, on those cold
Mhm,
rainy days, it's
mhm.
great. And then we go to
The museum.
the museum, which is the
It
last
is
building
the
as you make the loop.
It is actually was strictly the Grange building.
Right.
And then as unfortunately Granges are becoming fewer, they share it now with the museum and it's been done over so that every year we try to showcase Essex County history in that building, which is good. Plus, of course, the one whole corner is the trains.
The trains. And they have stairs there so you
They
can,
have-
the
the
kids can
get
stand
up
up
and
watch the
watch
trains.
those trains, and they just love it.
That was the other one that Ellie had to go back to over and over and
Mhm.
over again.
Plus, we have entertainment in there. There's a small stage in
Mhm.
there too.
You actually have small stages other places.
We
You've
do.
got one behind
The picnic area.
the picnic area. You've got the
One over in Kittyland.
right.
hmm
Um,
There's ongoing entertainment at all those stages.
and most of those are set up, or quite a few of them are set up for children.
Oh, absolutely.
Little magicians
Mm.
or
It's
Lon
all
Sorella's always
local.
there with his
Sure.
balloons.
Mhm. T-Bone is there.
Yeah.
That was another thing that Jim O'Brien saw the need for was expanded picnic areas. Because, see, we encourage people to bring their lunch to the fair.
You don't have to buy
You
fair food.
do not have to. Of course, most people coming, part of the experience of the fair is buying their
Cotton candy
food.
and fried dough
But
and baked
we
potatoes
encourage
and-
people to bring their lunch,
Mhm.
bring their own cold drinks, and enjoy our picnic areas. He has just expanded the numbers of picnic tables and entertainment because it's great for families. And most of those areas are in shady places.
Right.
So people can.
My daughter always brings something for Ellie to have that
Mhm,
she knows
mhm.
will
And of
get her
course,
through without having
right
a crash.
in the middle of the main picnic area is a huge tent. And on one end of it is Kitty Corral.
Right. Which is a playground for the children.
It's a playground for the
Sandbox.
children. It's just
Yeah.
simple little playing area for them, but there's benches where moms and dads grandparents can sit down, and the kids can just go in there and play and have a good time.
Yeah, because quite often they're kept in a carriage or something like
That's
that,
right.
and it's nice for them
That's
to be
right.
able to
They
get out
can
and
get
run
out.
around.
Mhm.
If you do bring children to the fair and you go out to the fair and it's beautiful and sunny, please remember to bring the hats and the mittens
That's
and
right.
the jackets and the blankets
That's
for later
right.
on, because the minute the sun goes down, it is
Dress
cool.
them appropriately.
Right.
And we try to tell the parents who are sending their kids off to the school, you see, some days we'd have 100 school buses.
Yes.
The school children through grade 5 come in free. And it's not the rides that they go on or the food they go on, it's for the educational experience. And we tell parents, please dress them appropriately. If it's pouring rain, put them in a raincoat. If it's cold, make
boots.
sure they have a jacket.
Yeah, yeah, because the weather does change quickly.
Getting back to that big tent, Beverly, this year, again, we're going to have craft in there. People can rent space in there for 3 days
And sell their handmade
and
crafts.
sell their handmade crafts, which is something they hadn't been able to do.
Right.
So for 3 days, they can be in there and it can be booked. The rest of the time, of course, it's used for judging sheep,
Right.
goats.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, we've touched the buildings, but there are tractors that the kids can go and climb on, or you can, if you're interested in buying tractors, they're all there. The food is always, there's apple
there's
pies
everything.
and baked
There's
potatoes
everything.
and fried dough and
Everything,
all the things that you
know,
expect.
And we've been trying to get some healthier food in too, and because people's tastes vary,
Right.
from salad to clam chowder to, there's a lot of,
And there's the church
Good
booths
foods.
always have
the church
homemade
booths have homemade turkey dinners.
and chowders. American Legion also has homemade food.
They do.
A
they
lot
do.
of the smaller
A lot of
Topsfield organizations.
You know, a lot of
Yeah.
organizations.
Yeah.
But we can't forget the Essex County Farmyard that's
Yes,
right in
that's
the
right
middle.
in the middle.
Doug Gillespie has been our farmer in the farmyard since Dan
Since
Hurld
Dan
retired.
Yeah.
And there you can see, we can walk through and visit with the animals. The birds of prey appear there, and the birds of prey are kept in that tent. So you could go
In
in
there.
and see the eagles and owls and
Yeah.
everything. And-
Falcons. Yeah.
but during the day, there are demonstrations on shearing or alpaca, it's
Canines.
everything there.
Rescue dogs quite often have shows in there. Climbing the pole.
Yes, the money pole.
That's how-
Weekends is where the kids climb.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the things that I want to make sure that people understand is for the price of one admission, parking and an admission, there is so much to offer. You could spend from 10 o'clock in the morning right through the whole day and never run out of things to see.
That's
And
very
if you
true.
looked at the program when you got home, you'd say, oh, we missed this and this and this. Because there is so much there. It is, especially in the economy, the way it's been going the last few years, it's a driving thing, it's affordable, and it is something for the families and kids.
It absolutely is. And we offer Senior Citizens Day, always on the first Monday, and we offer seniors a discounted price, and we try to have entertainment that day that's going to appeal to the people who are a little older. And as far as kids, you know, under 8 are free. So it's a fabulous bargain for families.
Yeah, it is. Plus, they can again go online or
They can buy them in
buy
advance.
the tickets in advance
We
up at the
always,
fairgrounds.
the schedule is always online as well, or we print a daily program that we put out every place
Yeah.
so that they can pick it and see what day they want to go.
Some of the ladies that work in the Bunker Association
Mm-hmm.
booth, I always get the schedule and they say, okay, let's see. I want to see the show on Thursday night, so I'm going to work Thursday afternoon. And I want to see this show on Saturday, so
Sure.
I'll work Saturday night.
Sure. They do. They plan. That's how they plan out their coming.
And it's a wonderful day. It's a wonderful place. It is very
Well,
much a fair family.
And I think one thing, Beverly, that people don't understand is Topsfield Fair has a very small paid staff. The fair is run on volunteers. We have more than 700 volunteers that put that fair on every year.
Right.
And without those volunteers and the dedication, the fair couldn't happen.
Right. All winter there are 2 people there, and they keep the place open and running, and then people start coming in. So it is
do.
lots of volunteers,
There are a lot of volunteers.
and it takes a lot to keep a fair like this running.
Oh, it does. It does.
And the volunteers need to be thanked for that.
Every building.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great fair.
Anything we missed?
I think we did a good job.
I think we did too.
I do. I think we
Thank
took
you.
a good tour.
Thank you very much
Beverly.
for coming. I
Appreciate it.
truly appreciate
Thanks.
it.
My pleasure.
I hope everybody makes it over to the Topsfield Fair this year and every year. And this is Spotlight Georgetown. I'm Beverly Enos. Bye for now.